Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Like I said, it's taken me a lot to film this video, to be honest. I've been procrastinating, but I am back. Today I will be talking about my nursing journey. I really want to make this video short, about 15 minutes or even less. So I'm going to get right into it. I will start with this video is going to be into three main parts. Basically, why I went to nursing school, the support that I used in terms of people, family, and lastly, the resources that I felt really helped me throughout nursing school. So I hope you can gain something from this video. And again, if you have any questions or any suggestions or any videos that you want to see, please comment down below. So firstly, why did I decide nursing school? In 2016, I started to think about nursing school more in terms of, I was looking at my life and I was in my MPH program at the time and I was trying to decide, okay, what am I going to do after I graduate? What am I going to do with this degree? I knew that I wanted to work with children, babies, toddlers, whatever it was. I just wanted to work with children. I just didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I didn't mind, to be honest. I didn't mind anything as long as every day I woke up, I leave my house, I was going to work with children. That's all I cared about. So when I was in my MPH program, I started trying to look for those opportunities, but they didn't come easy. I did get a research opportunity to work on the World Health Organization research for breastfeeding, and I was working with a professor that specialized in research in Haiti. So I was able to get on that project, and that was like my first introduction of, mother baby health, and I fell in love with it. So around that time, I applied to nursing school. I wasn't sure what my plan was going to be. I just was like, you know what, let me just try it. Let me even see if I'm going to get in. So I applied to the nursing school that is attached to my school that I was currently in, and I got accepted. So I was like, oh my God, like this is not real. I talked to a lot of different people on what I should do. Some people suggested that I should put my MPH on hold and go into nursing because it's just so hard to get into nursing school that I don't want to lose the opportunity. And then there were other people that were like, you know what, why don't you finish your MPH first? Ask the school and like if they can give you like a leeway and then you can go do nursing after. So obviously I was torn, but I ended up going with waiting till after I was done with my MPH to do nursing. But when I graduated, I started getting confused again. I'm a very indecisive person. I was started thinking and praying. I'm like, God, like, what do you really want from me? What should I do? And then I kind of went with the side of comfort. So I started applying for jobs, and literally I applied, and 2 days after I started getting interviews. And I went to my first interview, I believe. Was it my first one? Yes, it was my first. And they offered me the job. It was in colon cancer research, had nothing to do with children. But in my head, I was like, you know what? This is a good start for me. Very soon, I'll be able to start working with kids. It's just a stepping stone. So I got that job as a research coordinator, and then I worked there for a little over a year, and then I started looking into what I could do with kids. So thank God I did get an opportunity to work with sickle cell anemia children. That was my first big job, if you want to say, working with kids. But God had bigger plans because that job I stayed only for about 5 months and it just didn't work out. Like it was a mess. Like I walked out of that job feeling emotionally scarred, and at that time I was pregnant with my son, and I'm still healing from that experience, to be honest, but I'm also so grateful for the experience because if it wasn't for that, I would never have taken the leap to go to nursing school. Mind you, I applied to nursing school, like I said earlier, in 2016, and now we're talking, this is 2019, right? So I was nervous. I was like, okay, I'm gonna reach out to my school. What if they don't even have a spot for me anymore? Because this school is known for having long wait lists. So I disappeared for 3 years, and I'm just expecting them to have a spot for me. But I prayed about it. I was like, God, if this is your will, they will have a spot for me still. So I reached out to the admissions and I told them, "Oh, I'm reaching out again. I know I was supposed to, mind you, this is the third time that I was canceling my or postponing my admission date, because I had reached out to the admissions twice before and told them like, oh, can you postpone my date? I can't start right now. I'm in my MPH, or I just started a new job. It was one excuse or the other. So this would have been the third time I was reaching out to admissions. So the lady in admissions replied me and she was like, Esnam, like we will be happy to have you, but this is the last time you can change your mind. I just knew, like the moment I got that email, I knew it was God. So I told her, I was like, you know what? I'm not changing my mind this time. I mean it. I really want to start. When is your earliest date? And she told me it was January of 2020. I would have preferred to start earlier, but it didn't work out because I still had to do prerequisites. So I started doing my anatomy and physiology prerequisites. I did microbiology, and I believe like two more that I can't really remember off the top of my head, but I started going at it. At this time, I believe my son was about 3 months old, so it was really hard. My mom was here to help me a little bit during that time, but after she left, it was like I had to really start to discipline myself. I will be honest and say, like, God really prepared me for nursing school through that time, because when I had to take those prereqs, I was taking them online. I really had to get into a discipline mode because I had a deadline to meet to be able to start nursing school and pass those prerequisites. And I had to also take care of a newborn, and I was breastfeeding full time. So it was a very challenging time, but God saw me through. I had a goal and I knew that with God and hard work, I was going to get there. So I did all my prerequisites and I started nursing school in January of 2020. Let me just say that nothing prepares you, no matter how much you prepare. And that's why I'm making this video. I wish someone had told me. I did get some very, very good tips from my friends that had already gone to nursing school. But there's certain things that I feel like is so important to tell people, and that's why some of what I'm gonna share today. But I started nursing school in January 2020, and it was tough. It was really hard. Like I said, my first tip for nursing school would be to get a resource like UWorld or some type of quiz bank, or even better, if you can, take one of those comprehensive reviews. They don't have like a cap where like you're not allowed to take it if you haven't started nursing school. But once you finish your prereqs for nursing school and you know that that acceptance is 100%, I would recommend taking there's so many comprehensive, either my Klimek reviews or Hurst review, or even Archer review has some videos, but I didn't really enjoy those videos. But I didn't do this, but I would totally recommend it because those reviews break down basically what you're going to learn in nursing school. They teach you the basics, the basic level. And this book is also a good one as well, the Nugget pages. I talked about it in my previous video, but it gives you like an overview of what you're going to learn in nursing school and the foundation of what you need to know to pass your Nclex, which is that thing at the end of nursing school that determines if you're going to be able to practice as a nurse or not, which is for me the most important. So I would say number one tip, get something that is going to start preparing you for the Nclex from day one. Anyways, before I get over myself, so my first part of the video was why, and I just explained why I went to nursing school. Then the second part now is my support system. Oh my God, you need support in nursing school. Like, even if you're an introvert like myself, even if you don't have a lot of friends like myself, the few friends and family that you have, you need to rely on them. Like, my husband was so incredible and my mom was so incredible throughout this journey. Without them, I don't even know where I would be. I have close friends, best friends that were really there for me. My best friend Diana, my really, really, really close friend Lynn, who I met in nursing school. She also had a 5-year-old. Those type of people in your life, I'm obviously leaving some people out, but are so valuable for nursing school. I remember a friend of mine, Julie, who's who was already a nurse that I talked to. I remember talking to SC. I talked to a lot of people. I had a lot of people that I could call as well. Like if I was going through something, like in nursing school. Nursing school is hard. It might be this teacher that you might just be, you might find them challenging. It might be a class. My hardest class in nursing school was adult health 2. Oh my, I remember my hair was falling out when I was taking that class. I took it in term 4. It was one of the hardest classes for me, hands down. I don't know if it was a combination of the teacher's teaching style or, me just not being prepared. But after my first exam that I didn't do well in, I quickly figured out how to study for that class, and I turned it around, and I ended up getting an A minus in that class, which is very was very unlikely even as a whole, for the class as a whole. So like, support is very important. Support from family and friends, and most importantly, what I believe helped me was God and prayer. Like there were times when, again, adult health 2 would be what I refer to, where I felt like my body just couldn't take it. Waking up early to go to clinicals, coming back at the end of the day, having to still take care of my son, be there for him 100%, be present for him 100% as a mom. I remember in the beginning of nursing school, I was breastfeeding in class. I would have to leave class. Thank God for my recorder, which is another resource that you need for nursing school. In my opinion, I believe that you should get a recorder so that you can always record lectures and re-listen to them. Because for me, whenever I would go to breastfeed, I would leave my recorder running, quickly go, come back to class. And when I got home, I would re-listen to the lecture about 2 or 3 times as I'm doing errands, as I'm doing dishes, whatever it is. So a recorder is very, very, very important when you're in nursing school, in my opinion. So yes, so support from God, your family, and your friends. So that's the second part of the video. So the first part is talking about why. Second part is support. Third part would be the resources that helped me the most. I'm going to start with YouTube channels that I believed really, really impacted my knowledge in nursing school. The first channel would be Registered Nursing. I believe it's called Register. I'll link it down below, but it's Registered Nursing. She's a lady that just talks about all those hard concepts, all those disease processes, like the difference between Addison's disease versus Cushing's disease. She breaks it down so well. I remember taking patho, and I was like, she was my go-to. And then after every video, in her comments or her description, she has a link where you can click and go test yourself on what she has taught. And she even has notes on her website. I will link all of that below. It was really, really good for me. The second resource I would say was Simple Nursing. He was so good for me when it comes to pharmacology. He breaks things down. I will never forget Lam and Pam, like when he talked about Lam and Pam, because those are psych meds that make you feel very dizzy, that could cause older people to fall. And he had like animations in his video showing a car that was moving slow, Lam, Pam. Like, he was really, really good too. Simple Nursing. He's on YouTube. I will link his channel below as well. And I'm looking at my paper here. Those are the 2 videos that come to mind. Actually, now that I'm thinking of it, there was one more video that I can't remember the name off the top of my head now, but I will find it and I will link it below. Video resources that helped me during nursing school. Now I'm going to go into books that helped me. So I already talked about the Nugget pages. I just discovered that recently, but now that I look back, I wish I had it throughout my nursing school journey. But this is it again, Nugget pages. And then Davis's Q&A success series is gold. When it comes to your actual nursing classes, forget about Nclex. When it comes to actual nursing school classes, this book is so good. I'll link it below as well. But they have not only in fundamentals, they have one for peds, they have one for patho. For almost every subject that you would take in nursing school, this book is available for it. So I really thought this was helpful. And then this book, to be honest, I wasn't a fan of this book, but all over YouTube when I was researching about nursing school, everyone was recommending it on their channel. And it's this book, the Saunders Book. It helped me with patho. I remember I took patho in my first semester, and patho was very, very, very challenging. And I remember reading a lot of different books, using a lot of resources, videos to just get certain concepts down. And Saunders was one of them. And my teacher, to be honest, she actually will pull questions for exams from this book based on the topic that we're using. She would pull some questions from here. So I remember I would practice some of these questions, and then when I go and write the exam, I'm like, oh my God, it feels like I've practiced this question before. So it really helped me pass my patho class. If you guys want me to talk specifically about certain classes, because I know this video is very like broad, there's so many details that I've left out, but if you want me to talk about how I studied specifically for pathophysiology or for pharmacology or for fundamentals, like those really, really hard classes, please let me know and I'll record that. Another part that I really want to briefly touch on is clinicals. Clinicals is a huge part of nursing school where you basically go to the hospital and you're shadowing or you are doing things. The higher you go in nursing school, the more difficult it gets. For example, in my program, it was 5 terms. But I remember in term 2, when we went to the hospital, we were basically just shadowing a nurse. But in term 3, we were assigned patients and working with a nurse. And then in term 4, we were actually expected to be able to do really, really like challenging things like passing out meds, talking to patients, trying to find out what was going on, doing head to toe, like actual detailed head to toe and focused assessments. Clinicals is so important. One advice I would have for you is just keep going. Clinicals can be tough because you have to wake up early in the morning. You have to present your best self. Even on days that you don't feel like it, you still have to present your best self for your patients. And you have to go back home and start writing lab reports. Just try to remember that all of this is preparing you to be a nurse. Yes, they say that when you become a nurse, you learn everything on the job, but I believe that clinical sets that foundation. So just try to absorb as much information from any nurse that you paired with in clinical. Ask them questions. There's no silly questions. Talk to your professor that's on the unit with you. Ask them questions. When you have discussions, contribute to discussions. Because one thing I noticed about clinicals was when I was writing my Nclex, there were certain things that I knew for a fact that I didn't learn in class. But guess what? During my clinicals and those debriefing sessions that we had after clinicals as a group, I remembered conversations that we had that showed up on the Nclex. Like, I'm not even kidding. Like, I remember sitting and reading a question, for example, from an OB question about Depo or something, like some drug that we hadn't really talked about in class. But I remembered that in clinicals in term 4, my friends were on the at the OB clinic, and they were talking about giving Depo injections to women either after they had their first child, or if the woman came and they knew that they wanted to be on some type of birth control. We talked about that like almost every time in clinical. And I remember on my Nclex seeing something similar to that. And my mind just went straight to the conversations that we had. So when it comes to clinicals, just, it can be hard. Like sometimes you might not even want to go on that day to a hospital. You might not want to be around people, but just take it as a learning experience. Don't be too hard on yourself. And if you ever run into issues in clinicals, because I had friends that ran into some issues with either clinical professors or, even nurses during clinicals, just remember to stay professional and remember your support system. If you need to go vent to someone, if you need to talk to someone, just let it out to the people that are closest to you, to people that can pray with you, to people that can talk with you. Nursing school is not easy because you go in, even if you're prepared, even if you try to prepare as much as you can, there will be the unexpected challenges that you did not anticipate. What keeps you going is your support system. And for me, it was God and it was prayers. So this is the end of this video. I hope I didn't leave anything out. Every time I upload a video, when I watch it back, I'm like, oh, I didn't say this. So I probably did leave something out, but my next video coming out would be about my NICU preceptorship, my experience in the NICU during my preceptorship and how I got it. And then the video after that would be how I landed my NICU position that I'm currently about to start in a few weeks. I'm going to be starting my job as an RN in the NICU. So I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to make 2 separate videos because I don't want these videos to be too long. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you next time. Bye.